The Penguin Who Collected Pebbles. Once upon a time, far beyond the bustling cities and the noisy highways, in a land of endless ice and shimmering snow, there was a magical place known as Frosty Bay. Frosty Bay was home to thousands of penguins, all dressed in their finest black and white tuxedos. Among these cheerful creatures was a small penguin named Pip. Pip was not like the other penguins. While most of his friends loved to slide on their bellies across the ice or dive into the chilly waters to chase after silvery fish, Pip had a very special hobby. He loved to collect pebbles. Now you might wonder, what could be so exciting about pebbles? To Pip, each pebble was a tiny treasure, a little memory waiting to be discovered. Some were smooth and round, like the eggs his mother kept warm in their cozy nest. Others were flat and shiny, reflecting the golden sunlight that danced across the snow in the early mornings. From the moment he could waddle, Pip had been fascinated by the pebbles scattered across the frozen shore. Every day, he would set out on a new adventure, his tiny wings flapping with excitement, his eyes wide with curiosity. He searched high and low, near and far, always looking for the next perfect pebble to add to his collection. While Pip was busy hunting for pebbles, the other penguins sometimes giggled and whispered. Why does Pip love pebbles so much? They wondered. They're just ordinary stones, nothing special at all. But Pip knew that there was something magical about his pebbles, something the others could not see. One chilly morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon and painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, Pip set off on his usual adventure. The air was crisp, and the snow sparkled like a sea of diamonds. Pip waddled along the edge of the ice, his eyes scanning the ground for any sign of a new pebble. As he wandered, Pip stumbled upon a most unusual sight. Nestled between two icy rocks, there was a pebble unlike any he had ever seen. It was shaped like a tiny heart, and its surface glimmered with a rainbow of colors. Pip's heart fluttered with excitement. He carefully picked up the special pebble and held it close, feeling a warmth spread through his feathers. Pip couldn't wait to show his new treasure to his best friend, Tilly. Tilly was a gentle penguin with a kind smile and a twinkle in her eye. She loved listening to Pip's stories about his pebble adventures, and she never laughed when he shared his dreams. "Look what I found!" Pip exclaimed, waddling up to Tilly and holding out the heart-shaped pebble. Tilly's eyes widened in amazement. "Oh, Pip, it's beautiful! It looks like a piece of the rainbow!" Pip beamed with pride. "I've never seen a pebble like this before. I want to add it to my collection, but I also want to share it with everyone." Tilly thought for a moment. "Why don't you use your pebbles to build something special? Something that all the penguins can enjoy together?" Pip's eyes sparkled with excitement. He had never thought of using his pebbles for anything other than collecting. The idea of building something for the whole colony filled him with joy. Without wasting a moment, Pip and Tilly set to work. They gathered pebbles from Pip's collection, smooth ones, shiny ones, pebbles of all shapes and sizes. They worked side by side, stacking the stones carefully, balancing one on top of the other. Soon, other curious penguins began to gather around, watching as the pile of pebbles grew taller and taller. "What are you making?" asked Max, the colony's fastest swimmer. "We're building something special," Pip replied with a grin. "Would you like to help?" Before long, the whole colony had joined in. Some penguins brought pebbles they had found on their own adventures, while others helped stack and arrange the stones. The air was filled with laughter and excitement as everyone worked together, building a structure that grew bigger and more beautiful with every passing hour. When they were finished, the penguins stepped back to admire their creation. They had built a magnificent pebble tower, taller than any penguin, sparkling in the sunlight. At the very top, Pip placed his rainbow heart-shaped pebble, where it caught the light and shone like a beacon. The penguins cheered and danced around the tower, proud of what they had created together. It became a special place for the colony, a place where friends could gather, tell stories, and watch the stars twinkle above the icy land. From that day on, Pip was no longer just the penguin who collected pebbles. He was known as the penguin who brought the colony together, who showed everyone the magic in simple things, and who taught them that when you share your treasures with others, they become even more wonderful. As the days passed, Pip continued to search for new pebbles, always dreaming of new adventures. But now, he knew that the best treasures of all were the friendships and memories he shared with those he loved. And so, in the heart of Frosty Bay, where the snow never melted and the stars shone bright, Pip and his friends lived happily, their pebble tower standing tall. A reminder that even the smallest penguin can make the biggest difference, one tiny pebble at a time. But Pip's story didn't end there. For every day in Frosty Bay brought new surprises, new pebbles to discover, and new friends to meet. One day, as Pip was exploring the far edge of the bay, he met a young seal named Sammy. Sammy was shy and quiet, and he often watched the penguins from a distance, longing to join their games but too nervous to ask. Pip noticed Sammy sitting alone on an icy patch, watching the pebble tower from afar. He waddled over, his heart full of kindness. "Hello there," Pip said gently. "Would you like to see our pebble tower up close?" Sammy looked surprised, but nodded shyly. Pip led the way, telling Sammy all about the different pebbles and how each one had a story. Sammy listened with wide eyes, amazed that something as simple as a pebble could be so special. As they reached the tower, Pip picked up a small, smooth pebble and handed it to Sammy. "This is for you," he said with a smile. "Every friend who visits gets to add a pebble to the tower." Sammy's eyes sparkled with happiness. He carefully placed the pebble on the tower, feeling like he belonged for the very first time. From then on, Sammy became a regular visitor to the pebble tower, joining in the games and laughter with the penguins. Pip was delighted to have made a new friend, and he realized that sometimes the best treasures are the ones you share. As the seasons changed, the pebble tower grew taller and more beautiful, with every new pebble and every new friend. Seagulls, seals, and even a curious polar bear cub added their own special stones, making the tower a symbol of friendship and unity in Frosty Bay. One winter night, as the northern lights danced across the sky in ribbons of green and purple, the penguins gathered around the tower for a special celebration. Pip stood at the front, his heart-shaped pebble glowing at the top of the tower. "Thank you all for making our pebble tower so wonderful," Pip said. "It's not just a pile of stones, it's a collection of our memories, our kindness, and our friendship. Together, we can make magic out of the simplest things." The penguins cheered, their voices echoing across the snowy bay. As they danced and sang beneath the shimmering lights, Pip felt a deep sense of happiness. He knew that no matter how small he was, he had made a big difference in the lives of his friends. And so, under the vast, starry sky, the penguins of Frosty Bay continued to share their stories, their laughter, and their pebbles, building a world where everyone belonged and where every tiny treasure could shine. From that day on, whenever a new pebble appeared on the shore, the penguins would gather around, eager to hear its story and welcome another friend to the tower. And at the heart of it all was Pip, the little penguin with a big heart, who taught everyone that the greatest magic comes from sharing, caring, and believing in the wonder of small things. And so, in the land of Frosty Bay, where the snowflakes twirled like little dancers and the ice sparkled under the sun, the Pebble Tower stood as a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even the tiniest pebble in the right flipper could change the world. And every night, as the stars twinkled overhead and the penguins snuggled close in their cozy nests, Pip would drift off to sleep with a smile, dreaming of new adventures, new friends, and new pebbles waiting to be discovered. For in Frosty Bay, the story of the penguin who collected pebbles was just the beginning, and the magic of kindness, friendship, and imagination would last forever.